and that requires the attitudinal change. And how can I model something for getting the attitudinal change? That's this about. Before getting into that, I just want to tell a 30-second story. What you're seeing is there is a person who is playing a violin on the Washington DC metro station. So that person is Josu Bell, who has made a violin script which is around $3.5 million worthy. That person is playing a violin in a metro station. He got only $32. He played that for 45 minutes, and the total person crossed around him is around 1,100 people. It means 1,100 people crossed him. They just listened to him and just walked down, and the piece of the music he is playing is about $3.5 million. It says we have something, whatever good we have, we should project it. We need mass cooperation. We are all very good in technical things, but how we are going to convey this to that? So we need kind of media so that we should communicate it properly. That's my idea behind this. How to reach the mass now? So everything is clear. How to reach the mass? To reach the mass, you should be very fast, should be very smart, and finally you should be always kidding. So the provision I found is the Facebook. Probably we are the Facebook users are third largest population. If all the Facebook people are put in a country, they are the third largest population. So that much population we have in the world, every 13 person is connected to, 1 in a 13 person is connected to Facebook. So whatever we want to say, tell him. He will be telling to his friend, and so on. After some time, he will be reaching to all. That is the one point. And second thing is around every user in the Facebook has 229 friends. So we are reaching, if anything is reaching to 29 people, and they are spending about 13.5 minutes per day. So we have an audience now. Whatever we are effective in saying, that will be conveyed very effectively. So we can have some kind of social awareness or solid waste management related awareness on this 13.5 minutes. Probably we can spend 13 minutes, 13 seconds that can be used for many changes. So here, the Facebook, how it is used in business models, waste business models. Waste business, I mean not waste business, business related to waste. Here, there is a model for me from Recycle Bank. There is a company which is 37th rank among the 15th, among 50 innovative companies. This is ranking 37, and they are saying that social network sites helps them a lot. I tell you how it helps for them. So here, how they work is, you as the user, you have to register and you have to earn some points by practicing some kind of solid waste management related things. I just tell you that. And you have to get rewards, and the rewards will be projected in a way. You will be getting some kind of subsidies in buying some products in online. So, sorry. So that is the thing. And here they can able to get bra. It's a ladies are wearing that bra. They can able to get the recycle things. Actually, there is a reward point. So they got around 36,000 old used bras, and those bras are used in recyclable materials, and it is used as a solid fuel. So that's a significant data I just want to share you. It's having more potential because we can't run this kind of marketing statistics. So these people are using those statistics, and they are running the show, and they have 4 topics like homes and garden, and holiday entertainment, and lifestyle, and food and drinks. This is the major 4 topics. You have to tell them they will be asking some questions once you register. You have to tell them what you people are doing. Accordingly, you will be getting the points, and those points can be used for purchase of any online items. Not any items, these are all the items you can have. So this shows about the items. So these are all the reward points you can get. So these models can be used for our business. And in India, slowly it's growing now. One thing recently I have seen is there is a person who is asking about some packing material for rice and other things. So there is other person who commented on this, saying that we can look for a cotton bag. Then immediately that person is asking for some coat on the cotton bag. So it's showing, and they are encouraging the companies who is very environment related. They are asking them to buy their products. And the thing is getting fund for any charity-based works. How to get the money is, when I'm booking this trip, I have seen one thing called contribute to carbon footprints. Is to make my trip, it is there. And here you can see, there is a provision. Once we are having more money, if anyone is, please, sir, 2 minutes. Sir. So you can make use of the social media to collect money. That's the idea behind this. And most of the wedding invitation cards, there is websites for their showcase. And what you can have is, you just give the small tab which talks about the orphanage nearby. So if I am getting married, if I'm from Pondicherry, if I click Pondicherry, then that will give you the list of orphanage. From that, the data can be transferred to them because they are looking for food. There is a data, wedding food, 339 crores has been waste on the food waste. So we can link between this and this. And this is about the opinion. Say this is the Greenpeace is always doing, and there are many opinion polls are there in the social media. This is very interesting story about ugly Indians. It will be good for me if you give 1 more minute. The thing is, this is the website of Ugly Indian. What they do is they are not doing any lecture or any canvassing, nothing. What they do is they have the Facebook friends. They will be posting the place where the garbage is more. Immediately they will be getting response from the nearby friends. So what they do is, this is the photo what they are showing of the places where the more garbages are there. And the second thing is they start posting. So people are coming to clean that. And these are pictures you are saying cleaning. And here, this is the picture how it get cleaned. And this is the picture how it is cleaned. And cleanly, this is cleaned and this is the dirty one. This is the first post they have posted. And people gathered and they cleaned. And now it is aesthetic effect, more aesthetic. This is covered in media also. And there are many like this. I'm just showing you the one of the spec. There are many like this. And this is my experiments. For a conference, I just want to post a paper, put a paper. I didn't have any idea, so I just put it in a Facebook. Within 15 minutes, I got the response, my own friends and students. And I just posted that I have made a draft, I have sent that, they agreed that abstract. Then I made a full draft, then I again sent it to them, posted in the Facebook, requesting for the comment. They have commented, and finally I got the Best Project Award, Best Paper Award. And this thing is about this conference, and first topic, that's what I said, topic has changed. So here, I just given the comments, I just want to use social media for solid waste management and asking for the Facebook users to support me. And you can see around 24 comments within 1 day. Don't ask me what happens afterwards. Only 1 day it was there. They have given the 24 comments. Using those comments only, I have drafted all the material. Whatever you are seeing, this is the components of from this. And how, as a teacher, I'm going to use this social media for creating awareness. I used to design the assignment such a way, it can be connecting my students with the public. Say here, this is about the municipal solid waste. I just give them assignment to make 3 questions on the municipal solid waste management. And those things, I'll be posting that in the Facebook. So who are my friends who's connected with me, they used to see what is meant by municipal solid waste. They used to interact with that, and they will be asking some questions to my students. So I'm just connecting my students with the outsiders. And this is the encouragement of my students. I used to go a lot of solid waste management related places, so they get motivated. And the final reflection is this one. I made a team called Enviroids of Students Forum, and those forums are visiting, and they are just, whatever the things I was saying is, every student is having this kind of bag, and whatever the material they are having, they are packing it in a bag, and they are making some articles like this. These are all the articles they are made from the waste, leaf and other things. And this is the gift they have given for us on the Teachers' Day. And these are all the waste material which is flowing all over the place. They are collected and put it in a nice way. They are reducing the entropy. And this is the place where they work together by evening. And this is, now they have self-sufficient, and they now started telling to others. They went to schools and they are projecting what they are doing. And this is the team called Enviroids. And this is my experiment after seeing the before seeing the ugly Indians. I have posted, this is my boundary wall. This is my university boundary wall. I have seen a lot of garbages. I want to clean it. As an individual, I can't do that. So what I did was I posted in a Facebook. So I was waiting for 1 week and 1 month, nothing has happened. So restless mind, I made myself worked, and I have done this. So now it is like this. I'm not lying. I made it with Photoshop. These are all the other posts, and ATM place where I found, just tell them that this is what happened. So please do some actions. And the final thing is, I'm just concluding with this. This is the story of humpback whales Reddy Dogs and Greenpeace. The thing is, there is a campaign for the humpback whales to prevent the humpback whales. So what happened was they were asking the name for that campaign. There are many names come forward, and one name was very funny name. So what happened was Greenpeace was not accepting that name. Later, Reddit is the website you all know. They come forward. Sir, 1 minute, sir. So they have made that very familiar. Maybe the Greenpeace is not comfortable with the name, but what happened was later those name was marketed in the t-shirt and so many things. From that Greenpeace is getting money. So you will not be able to get the exact thing, but you will be getting something to you. That is my point of view. So finally, banning the Facebook or something is not going to be a solution. There is a train, metro train is there. Why you are bothering about terrorists? Do something to avoid the terrorists. Metro train is excellent. So social media is excellent thing for you to communicate anything. So it will be better if you people are using and making your friends to use. Thanks a lot. Thanks for this opportunity.
Thank you, Sudhara. Thank you. Rozia Singh, she will speak on, she's from Terry, Delhi, and she'll speak on exploring the potential of decentralized solid waste management in New Delhi. Great.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can I hear a good afternoon? Good, you're awake. This is a very challenging timing for all the speakers post-lunch session, but most of this has already been discussed, but I will, in bits and pieces, but I will be putting together the story. So my research was titled Exploring the Potential of Decentralized Solid Waste Management in New Delhi, and this was part of my master's thesis last year, but even after the thesis has been produced, I've not stopped thinking of the solutions, so here it is. The outline is study introduction, solid waste management in New Delhi, public-private partnership, community models, are decentralization options sustainable and possible solutions, but since we are short on time, I'll just focus my presentation on these 3 points. And the objectives of my study was to analyze the prospects and constraints in waste management and disposal, given the scarcity of land. So I wanted to find out what are the alternatives that MCD is currently exploring for future waste management in New Delhi. And the research questions also dealt with what is the current structure of waste management in Delhi and what are the key challenges faced by MCD, who are the private partners, what is their role. And the methodology was a literature review, in-depth interviews, case study analysis, field visits, and findings. And basically, the findings can be categorized into 4 tiers. The first tier was MCD, understanding the alternatives, Department of Environment, Delhi government. Second tier was the private players of MCD, understanding their role. Third tier was meeting the practitioners, exploring the potential of such projects which have been undertaken in Delhi before. And fourth tier was case studies. Literature review dealt with a lot of documents and stuff. And yeah, decentralized waste management is basically an approach to provide a clean environment and hygienic living conditions by reducing the quantity of waste at source. And it is a shift from the paradigm or notion of only government or local municipalities should handle our waste. And close to this concept is also the concept of integrated solid waste management, which says that waste stream is made up of distinct components that can be managed of and disposed of separately. So these are the various advantages of decentralized systems when you compare them with centralized systems. They reduce the cost incurred for collection, transportation, and disposal, and they enhance and improve the environmental awareness of beneficiaries. They enhance the income and job opportunity, and of course, source segregation by residents reduces the volume of solid waste earmarked for disposal effectively and increases the value of recyclables. We will appreciate these advantages more at the end of the presentation. So solid waste management in Delhi, for the sake of this study, I've taken MCD's role. They handle 90% of the Delhi's waste and they cover 97% of Delhi's population. And these are the 12 zones to which Delhi is divided. And the first 6 zones, there is privatization for collection and transportation, and MCD employs over 50,000 Safai Karamcharis, including for road sweeping, and 1,500 supervisory staff. Now, current landfill sites in Delhi have an area of Ghazipur, Okhla and Bhalaswa, and 2 more sites have been proposed, Jaipur and Bhavana. And basically, if this is one of the study from the feasibility and master plan for optimal waste treatment and disposal, which was submitted to MCD in 2004 conducted by COWI Denmark in association with another environmental consultants. And let's look at the SWOT analysis of the waste activities for Delhi. So basically, if you see waste generation, the strength is that significant waste quantities are recycled by rack pickers. The weakness is source segregation is missing. If you see the threat in terms of waste collection and transportation, longer transportation distances will strain already limited resources of MCD, and waste treatment and disposal, the weakness is severe land constraints, and obviously the threats are not in my backyard perception, leading to rejection of sites and lack of project management capacity. And basically, the compliance of MSW rules, CPCB and state pollution control boards are supposed to monitor it. There hasn't been a comprehensive one nation study till now post the rules were implemented, but this study was mentioned in a book called Improving Municipal Solid Waste Management in New Delhi, in India, a source book for policy makers and practitioners. It was released in 2008. And although these results are from the survey of various cities, but this holds true for Delhi as well, because Delhi spends the majority of budget, 80%, on collection and transportation and remaining on disposal. So obviously our compliance with street sweeping and transport is good, but just look at the compliance with processing and disposal and of course segregation. And these are some of the figures. And coming to the public-private partnership, these are the partners, ILNFS, Ramki, and SPML. SPML has Delhi Waste Management, which is the special purpose vehicle. They have 80 vehicles and 900 staff employed in the 3 zones. And the primary collection points are bins, and the secondary collection points are Dhalaus. ILNFS and Ramki have windrow composting plants. So ILNFS manages the windrow composting plant in Okhla, and Ramki is managing the one in Bhavana. And these are the windrow composting plants. This is the process which is followed. We need not go into that. And coming to the community models, before speaking about the community models, I had interacted with these 3 NGOs, CEE, Toxic Links, and Vatavran. Let me tell you that time and again it has been proven that more than 50% of our waste is biodegradable. So according to ADB's 2011 guidebook for policymakers and practitioners, the total municipal waste generation amounts to 50 million tons per year in the South Asia region, out of which 33 million tons here is organic. And of course, this is another study which was conducted in 2004 by IPE and CEE, where the waste streams from 3 colonies in Delhi, low income, middle income, and high income was studied, and basically you can see the results. All of them say that more than 60% of the waste is biodegradable. So the potential is proven time and again. Now coming back to the practitioners, when I met the practitioners from CEE, they had in the early 90s, they had implemented a project on urban waste expertise program, and basically in the phase 1 they took 4 of these colonies in Bangalore, and the classification they follow is wet, dry, soiled, and toxic. And basically they used a pit method of composting, and they had set up pits in all these colonies, and the impact was that it was actually supported by the local municipal authorities, and it led to the formation of a coalition called Swabhimana, which was a group of NGOs which had CEE, Mithri Sarva, Seva Samiti, Bangalore Environment Trust, and a lot of citizens voluntary organization. Their key success ingredient was that they gave importance to awareness and communication. They involved all the stakeholders, and they had conducted door-to-door awareness and trainings and workshops. Of course, the constraint mentioned by them is that 1 pit can be used for maximum of 1,000 households, because otherwise the size of pit becomes too big to manage and requires energy to stir. And of course, constant community motivation is required. And this is the model that they followed. And when we speak about Vatavran, Vatavran is another NGO which have successfully developed a model in JNU, a model for institutions. So basically they have hired a group of rack pickers whom they call the cleaning brigade, who collect the waste from the doorstep and segregate at the collection point itself. Of course, the biodegradable waste goes to the compost pit, recycling material is sent to the recycling industry, and rest of the inert and non-biodegradable material is taken to the municipal bins to be taken to the landfills. So the university administration takes a monthly payment from the residents for the cleaning brigade, and the secondary source of incomes is of course sale of recyclables, and some amount also comes from the sale of compost. Toxic Links is the third NGO, and they had implemented a project during 2003 to 2007. It was a Ford Foundation funded project, and they called it Zero Waste Colonies. Basically, they had also established compost pits using the EM treatment, effective microbe treatment, and they had adopted colonies Gautampuri, Saraswati Kunj, Sarata Vihar, Defense Colony, Rashtrapati Bhavan, and the key learnings were that the RWA partnerships are required, but the constraint is that they are non-salaried, so you need to keep them constantly motivated, and the government will is missing as cited by many of the practitioners. And just look at the Defense Colony case study, calculating from the amount of wet waste managed by the community of 500 households and recovery of recyclables from 1,000 households in A block of Defense Colony. This project is still running. It is found that there is a landfill diversion of approximately 600 to 700 kg of waste per day, which amounts to more than 200 tons per annum of waste diverted from landfill. Even though some may call this a small effort, but just see, this is from one pocket in Defense Colony. If we replicate it to other areas, what could be the effect? So surprisingly, Delhi government, Delhi Secretariat, Department of Environment has earmarked rupees 20,000 for RWAs to take up composting in their colonies. Of course, this is not advertised much, and I came to know this through my thesis. But they do have some funds for RWAs. RWAs need to approach them, give them a proposal, and they will give certain amounts of funds for the composting pit. And if you see the investment, it's very low. The establishment cost was 44,000 rupees, and the recurring cost was 20,000. But if you see the revenue generation with a user fee of 35 rupees, this may have increased due to inflation now. This was a project in 5 years back, so now maybe they will be paying 50 rupees or 60 rupees per household. And with the sale of compost, there was an earning of 10,000, which contributed to the monthly salary of workers. So it was pretty much sustainable. And the key learnings from all these colony projects was that the waste is being composted within the project area, so there is hardly any transportation cost involved. The land required for composting is available with the help of RWAs, who have given away some park area, and not the entire park, but a certain section of park according to the size of the pit. And the residents got the organic compost, which they didn't need to buy from the market. It was delivered to them at subsidized prices, and nominal contribution of from residents can sustain the salaries of 3 to 4 waste pickers who were employed for this initiative. And it was a participatory decentralized program. When you see community projects, this is the way they will actually learn, because it was happening in their own colonies. There was enhanced environmental awareness of the topic of solid waste, or the understanding of waste management. And speaking about are decentralized options sustainable? Now, currently, the #1 constraint, which is quoted everywhere in all the conferences, is that there is no market for compost, and there is no profitability in it. It is very tough to market the compost. But if you see 2 examples, I'm just going to quote 2 case studies. One is from Bangladesh, one is from Nepal. Waste Concern. Waste Concern is the largest compost manufacturer, and it has increased the capacity from 15,000 tons per year to, in 2012, they touched 50,000 tons per year. And how did they achieved it? Well, they had marketed and distributed their product through by engaging the country's biggest fertilizer marketing company, which was ACI, Advanced Chemical Industry. So Waste Concern sells their compost to ACI for 6,000 taka per ton, and ACI sells it to the farmers at 9,000 taka per ton, which includes the transport, storage, and promotional costs. So there was a lot of profitability, and this is often quoted as a case study. You can all have a look online. And another thing that I wanted to share was, this is a recent discovery. There's an organization called Biocomp. They've recently established their operations in Nepal, and they call themselves a social, environmental, profitable, private organic waste management company in Nepal. It's very interesting to see their brochure, the way they have marketed themselves, and they are basically doing windrow composting, not very different from what's happening in Delhi right now at the ILNFS plant or the Ramki plant, but the way they have marketed themselves and marketed their products is very impressive. And they employ they have increased the employment level. I mean, their project employs a lot number of people, so that is another social ramification. And in fact, they were awarded the Momentum for Change, that's 2012, not 13, Momentum for Change Award by UNFCCC in COP18 Doha. So Ban Ki-moon and Christiana Figueres had identified 9 lighthouse activities from around the world, and one of them was a composting initiative, a successful composting initiative. And of course, if you see, that is our very own Daily Dump from Bangalore, which is also doing some work in terms of promoting urban household composting. And if we look at the triangular matrix of stakeholders, this is a matrix which holds true for any waste management project. So you have the public sector, non-governmental, private sector. So you have the national government, municipal authorities, and all those entities. So we have seen some partnerships on the public sector and private sector point of view. But during the other side of the, if you see the other side of the triangle, public sector and non-governmental, we need more partnerships here. So MCD now needs to directly enter into partnerships with the community. And possible solutions, well, wherever I've gone till now, I've heard of 2 terms, scale and speed. So scale up and speed up the solution, economies of scale. So let me tell you that for your information, our planning commission estimates a shortfall of 6 million tons a year of organic manure. So yes, we do need organic manure. We've been speaking about waste to energy, but we've seen the characterization studies, and somebody in the morning spoke about how we should compare the technology option with the waste stream characteristic. So we very well need these composting plants, and currently mixed waste composting is in practice, but if the private collector is able to carry segregated waste to the facility, it can lead to improved quality and pricing of the compost. And of course, it requires door-to-door segregated collection. And I'm just ending. These are some food for thought. We need more conducive policies, like fertilizer companies must buy a certain share of compost, which will enhance the compost market. Policies conducive to promoting public, private, and community partnerships. And institutional level awareness is important. Like I told you that there is a funding mechanism in place for Department of Environment, but who all know about it? They need to step up and expand their outreach program. And Karnataka State Pollution Control Board has adopted a mandate that waste management units should be installed in apartments, thus paving a path for on-site or source management of wet waste. Pune also has many examples of biogas plants at the decentralized level. Of course, community awareness is required. The ultimate generators of waste will have to understand the importance of segregation. Like we've gotten used to paying our domestic helps for cleaning our homes, we must include our waste collectors and composting personnel in inclusion of informal sector. And we must realize that waste is a resource creating jobs for thousands and benefiting millions. So we cannot take away the employment aspect or the people aspect from this waste management issue. And these are my acknowledgements, my references, and yes, it's possible. I've been composting at home using the Daily Dump pot, and though I'm not promoting it, but there are many methods available, and I think all of us can do simple segregation. In the morning, I think somebody mentioned that, you know, it's very difficult to convince my wife how to segregate the waste. Well, I say it's really easy. We just treat it as very difficult. It's as simple as placing a dustbin in your kitchen, because all the waste is generated from your kitchen, and whatever is left behind is basically packaging waste. So all that can go in a separate bin. It's as simple as that. So either you can do it in the decentralized manner at your homes, in your parks, or you can send segregated waste to the centralized composting plant, which can do it for you, for the lazy people. So thanks.
Great. Thank you, thank you. It's a great presentation. Yeah, our next speaker is Devendra Dohare from HGSITS Indore. He's not there? He's there. He's not there. No? No, but somebody said yes. Yeah, I announced and somebody responded. Anyway, then Dr. Poonam, she'll speak on methodological framework to assess environmental impact on various waste management options.
Am I audible to everybody? Okay. Knowing the feeble yeses, I think I'm not am I audible to everybody? Am I visible to everybody? Okay. Sir, there are